Hey there guys, so before we get cracking, just a quick thing to say that this wasn't as much as we were planning on recording, but we got a little bit sidetracked by drinking basically before the gig proper, so what you've got here is what we've got. It's still, I think, actually a full length show. Actually I think it's a bit longer than a normal show, it's just we don't really, I suppose, cover as much. So there's going to be quite a bit of what we watched on next week's, I think. And yeah, here we go. Enjoy.
Do I want it? Welcome to episode 183, I'm leaving that in, of Dude and a Monkey. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always ready.
We're always ready.
Born fucking ready.
So we're at, what do you call your house now?
Have I given it a name? I don't know.
I was going to say Casa de Mellor, but...
Yeah, Casa de Mellor, yeah.
Yeah, so we're live here at Casa de Mellor.
Casa de my wife-ay.
Casa de my wife-ay, yeah, there we go. And we're all here, there's Mark. Hello. And there's Noel.
Hello.
Because it's a Marvel week. You know, kind of coincidentally though, because we're all together because we're going to go see John Carpenter play tonight, which is very exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's like I was saying to Claire last night as well, as she looked blankly at me, not knowing what the fuck I was going on about. We're really lucky that the John Carpenter gig that we're going to, you know, he could have gone to all the places in the world on Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
But we're seeing him on Halloween weekend,
yeah.
So I think that's pretty sweet. It just makes it a bit more.
I mean, what would you prefer, to see him on the Halloween weekend on the Saturday night, or actually to see him on Halloween on the Monday?
Like Halloween was Saturday night. If Halloween was a Saturday night, that'd be better. But to be honest, the fact that it's the Saturday night makes it a bit better.
I think with Halloween, it's one of those holidays that whatever day it falls on, you sort of just reappropriate it to the weekend before or afterwards. So it's not
whichever Saturday's closer.
Not many people will be doing much Halloween-y stuff on Monday, apart from people with kids. You know, i.e. me. But yeah, it's no. I'm happy that we get to see you on the Halloween weekend. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I can't wait, because I'll be honest, there's literally a day goes by that I don't hum the Escape from New York theme tune. It literally is my shower song.
My most embarrassing moment on, I think it was on Dude and a Monkey, was when I was talking about that Gaspar Noé film, Love, and I mistakenly said that it was the theme from Escape from New York, when it was actually the theme from Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm surprised more people haven't given me shit for that, to be honest.
I think it's quite an easy mistake to make, to be honest. I thought you were hard on yourself.
No, I don't know.
You were really pissed off with yourself.
I was fucking fuming. The
thing is, I've done that with John Williams scores before now, where like you think you're humming... you think you're humming Star Wars, and you're actually humming Superman.
Well, I throughout when we did the Star Wars... I think we did last year, we rewatched all the Star Wars. I, all the way through it, was humming the Jurassic Park theme, just to piss Becky off. Which I still do now. Or if like, the Jurassic Park theme tune comes on,
I'm alright for now. But
if the Jurassic Park theme tune comes on now, I will still go, it's the Star Wars theme! which drives Becky insane. And some people just sort of look at me baffled and go, no, it's Jurassic Park. Pretty fucking sure it's Star Wars.
I can never remember the Jurassic Park theme off my head.
Well, it depends which one you're talking about. Because you've got like...
The thing is that
and you got...
Oh,
yeah. So it could be either of those.
It's
I've not got a lot of love for Jurassic Park, though, so I'm not, you know...
I can take it or leave it.
It's a defining cinematic.
It is for you, yeah.
Well, yeah. I think the first time I watched it was the weekend that you got married. Ian?
Really?
Yeah.
Especially
it was
Hang on, yeah, was it the morning, in the daytime after?
Yeah, it was.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
It's because I'd never seen it, I'd never been that bothered. It arrived at a period in my life where blockbuster cinemas weren't that important to me. You know, I was still a film fan, but I wasn't interested in going watching Jurassic Park. I was probably interested in proving how cool I was by watching something by David Lynch. And, you know, just bad timing. But, yeah, it's alright, I suppose.
That's all I have to say to that. So, we're gonna review Doctor Strange. We're going to do what might be a first with Dean the Monkey and talk some TV. Like actually properly talk about something.
We've always mentioned it in passing.
So we're going to be talking about Black Mirror, even though Mark hasn't seen all of it, but Noel and I have.
I haven't seen the very last one.
Shit, really?
1 to 5. Yeah.
Okay, so the one that's actually film length, only one of us
is it?
Yeah, it's an hour and a half.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, okay, no, fair enough. Well, fuck. I kind of wanted to get spoilery with that one. Okay, no, fair enough. Alright,
yeah, I think we'd kind of half intended to watch it Thursday night, but yeah, we just not had time. Because it's one of those shows that Claire wants to watch as well.
Yeah.
So I can't just bang it on my own at 11 o'clock at night.
You see, that's the thing. I'm lucky, really. Like the Black Christmas special kind of scarred Donna. Like she really likes Black Mirror and she appreciates what it is, but like it really weirded her out. The one where it ends with like the guy stuck inside his own mind, kind of reliving Christmas by himself for like the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And it ends with like, I wish it could be Christmas every day, and it's like he's in a snow globe and it's just like repeating, and it's like, what the fuck, you know? Anyway, so I'm sure we're already tangenting enough, so I'm sure there'll be that as well. I don't know, maybe we do some drunk recording if I can use GarageBand on my phone later on, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But we've only just started drinking now, so this will be the most sober you hear us today.
And we've already broke a bottle.
We've already broke some bottles.
In fairness, I think that was my bad for Porkridge placement.
Did you get a chance to watch In a Valley of Violence?
Oh shit, yeah, we're doing. Well, we're going to talk about that as well.
What is that?
The Thai West Western.
Oh no, I didn't even know you were covering that. By all means,
I mentioned it very in passing on.
Oh right, I might not know.
Well, we'll just do a little.
No, talk about it by all means.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not the biggest
Thai West.
Yeah, I find him very hit and miss. So it'd be interesting.
Same. Yeah. So, do we have any trailers? I
don't think anything's come out really since we recorded. It's been a slow.
No, but I will say on your last show you were talking about Boss Baby.
Yeah, I've been watching the Boss Baby trailer.
Because I watched it and then I sat through it with all the questions that you had, going, I don't understand how this is going to work. And then the next day I was listening to you on the podcast just going, so is he a boss? What's he the boss of? Is he an adult? Why is he, what's the kid onto him about? I don't like, it's like they had the idea for the film, and no one will figure it out later. All we need is a baby in a suit, and we've got Alex Baldwin signed up. We'll figure out the details later.
Well, I put it on to watch. And Bexford said, "What's this?" And Ian said, "I'm going to watch it."
My first question was when they arrived, when they had the baby at the hospital,
did he come out in a suit?
And they brought the baby home. Why at no point did anybody go, why is this baby wearing a suit?
Did he come out in a suit? Or did it get the briefcase from inside the womb? There's a lot. There's a lot going. Do you know what? The movie that we're discussing is a lot more interesting than the movie that is going to be.
It's the line the kid's onto me. Alright, so you're acknowledging that he's a kid. So what the fuck are you? That's.
I'm more like, what's he onto you about? Though?
Is he
onto you? He's onto you about. He's onto me.
The waveform.
We're going to end up covering this, aren't we?
He's on. So the kid onto him about being a boss because the fucking briefcase and if this baby's supposed to be some sort of undercover operative, maybe being a baby carrying a briefcase in a suit
giving it away
isn't the best. It's a fucking confusing.
He's only a baby, isn't he? He's not to know.
What is he though?
Goo Gaga, I like briefcase. I
really don't understand what that film is.
Like I said last week, I will very likely take Lottie to it. So you're going to have to.
I'm going to have to go see it.
Abduct a child.
Do you want to come and see a film with me, little boy?
I don't know, maybe we'll have Noel on as well to explain the mysteries of the Boss Baby.
I'm curious, I must admit.
But
explain that away.
Let's not promise that Noel's going to be on. So we've already dragged him into the Resident Evil franchise.
Hey, that was my idea, wasn't it?
Okay, my apologies. Fair enough. Alright, so let's get into it then. So Doctor Strange is directed by Scott Derrickson and it stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Tilda Swinton, Benedict Wong, Rachel McAdams, Michael Stuhlbarg, Matt Mikkelsen.
That's a great selection of names, that, isn't it? I never thought about that before.
Good, solid names. Stuhlbarg.
Stuhlbarg's a great name.
Ejiofor.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. So, yes, I did say Cumberbatch, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch is...
Beryl Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch, cucumber patch.
is Stephen Strange, who's an egotistical...
You just reminded me of a moment in the film that I'd forgotten about. I fucking love. Carry on.
Okay. So he's Iron Man, but he's a doctor. And he loses his hands and then wants to try and get his hands back. Yep. Well, he doesn't lose his hands. He loses the fine use of his hands. And he wants to get it back. And through chatting to a cameoing Benjamin Bratt, discovers that there's a place called Shambhala.
No,
that's the Wi-Fi password.
Oh yeah, what's it called then?
It begins with D, I think. Should know this.
Dirk. He goes to a place called Dirk.
Dorich.
Dudley. where he hooks up with various mystics led by the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton, to try and get his his hands back, and discovers that maybe he should be using his hands for more than saving people's lives.
Oh yeah. Oh, you mean like? Oh right, okay. I thought you meant.
Well, saving people. Yeah,
using his hands for
diddling McAdams. Yeah. So Doctor Strange. I think generally on the show we've been a little bit ambivalent towards the marketing material pre-release.
Yeah.
But it's Marvel kind of going a bit more slightly risky again, after the safer bets of like Avengers 2 and Civil War. But yeah, what do we think? Let's start with Noel.
Well, yeah, funnily enough, I think it's probably the Marvel film that, certainly it's the Marvel character that had the most work to do with me so far, primarily because I've not read a lot of Doctor Strange. I've read bits of Doctor Strange in crossovers, so when he crosses over into other characters' threads, I've read a lot of him in that. The only other Doctor Strange I've read is the early Doctor Strange, the Steve Ditko stuff. And I really enjoyed that. And a big thing about that is the visuals of it and how Ditko started to do things with comic book panels that maybe other people hadn't thought to do before, about sort of time and space and sort of LSD trippy kind of materials and stuff like that. So it's not a character I'm massively familiar with. Also, Eastern philosophy and stuff like that is a real turn off for me. I don't gravitate towards films that cover that type of thing.
Noted Buddhist hater.
Yeah. There's been a lot of film, I'm trying to think of examples now. Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai, I'm never going to watch that film just because that type of material doesn't interest me. It doesn't do anything for me. So anything that's about that type of thing, I'm kind of not necessarily on board for. So it had a lot of work to do to get me on board, I think. I was excited about it because it was a Marvel franchise. I was excited about it because it's Doctor Strange, and it's an expansion of the universe. It's Marvel trying to do something a bit different. I was excited because the buzz had kind of crept through a little bit. But I think overall I was maybe just not expecting to be over the moon about it. And honestly, I think I've got a new favourite Marvel film.
Wow.
I was sat there watching it and the humour worked for me. The action really worked for me. The effects were used just enough. I don't think they overused them. And the stuff that they did was fucking eyeballing. I was like, we'll get onto it, but I thought it was really well done. And there were moments that I kind of looked at the character and thought, this is all a bit daft, isn't it? But, you can forgive it certain things. You know, it's busted open the Marvel universe a little bit more. It's opened them up to a whole other thing now, which I think is great. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm desperate to see it again, in fact. So yeah, I loved it. Really loved it.
Ace, alright, Mark.
Which is a change for me, this.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm normally ready to shit on whatever.
Civil War's fucking brilliant. Mark?
Yeah, but well, it's a good story. It looks nice. I was worried about Beryl Comzacchio's accent in the trailers, because I think when you just seen it in little snippets, it feels a little bit like generic.
That particular line about chakras and whatnot, sorry, but was that is there a different line reading of that in the film?
I thought it was different.
Yeah, it doesn't feel nearly as putting on an accent.
No, it feels quite kind of naturalistic in it, and it all that went on with all performances. Great, Mads Mikkelsen worked as a villain and everything, but I'll be honest, I was getting a little bit bored towards the end, to be honest. It didn't quite. But then again, I am the least marvelly in the room. But would I watch it again? Happily, yeah. I'd absolutely watch it again. So I think the worry. I think I went into it. I went from being quite low down and thinking I'm not idea what to expect, because I know very little of Doctor Strange material, to then going a little bit higher up on it because the word was really good, and then it kind of finished on. I was like, right, I'm not really sure where I sit on this, because I definitely liked it, but I was kind of looking a little bit towards the end a little bit. In that sort of start of the third act, once we got towards the end, I was on board with it. But yeah, the middle bit maybe kind of just didn't quite grab me.
Well, kind of like after the fight with Scott Adkins and before it actually all properly kicked off at the end, do you mean? Or...
No, I'd probably say actually further than that. Actually, I think it's actually the middle bit from when he gets there to the Scott Adkins thing, which was really fucking weird seeing Scott Adkins in a Marvel, but he's going, that looks like Scott Adkins.
Yeah, it was weird to see Scott Adkins get his spirit, like, celestial arse kicked by,
Benedict. Yeah. And the bits like that, they didn't work for me, to be honest. But I don't want to be the
I think
assassin of joy.
No, I
usually me, to be fair.
I don't think it'd be. I think I'm in the middle on this one. Like, I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna call it my favourite Marvel film. There are several Marvel films that I personally prefer, but good on you. That's absolutely cool.
I mean, the thing is I'm reluctant to say something so quickly after, and let's see how it stands up on a rewatch. The thing is it's always going to be very difficult to topple the first Iron Man film for me, because that was my character. That was the character that I read so much of as a kid. So finally getting to see Iron Man before all this MCU nonsense, finally getting to see Iron Man on the screen was a huge fucking deal. But certainly since that, I can't think of a separate, if you look at Captain America, Thor, either of the Hulk movies, any of the sort of individual kick-off movies, I can't think of a better one. It's,
That's interesting. I mean, in terms of the kicking off a character films.
Yeah. It's the thing is, it is an origin film, as most of these things kind of have to be. I've said many times before, I think we need to do away with origin films for Batman, for Spider-Man, for the Hulk. These are established characters in the collective. People know how these... But with somebody like Doctor Strange, you have to do an origin story, because people don't know who he is. I get it. But I think they did such a good job of creating an origin story. They didn't really feel... It felt like... I think part of it felt like because he was sort of thrust into things for one reason... but also he was having to deal with another, like, on the back of it, he was going to have to deal with other stuff. He was in this, he he went into this situation for selfish reasons, but they knew that if they got him in for selfish reasons, they'd be able to turn him into the person that he wanted to be, and then he'd be in the middle of this thing, and he'd just have to deal with it. Because of all that was going on, it didn't feel like it took the focus of, I've had a crash, I've hurt my hands, now I'm on a spiritual journey, now I've learned how to do this, now I've learned to do that, bang, now I'm wearing a cape, I'm Doctor Strange. So it just sort of took away from that a little bit, it distracted a little bit.
I like that, even though I thought his character arc was rather quick. Like, it was like, so he's not declared the Sorcerer Supreme by the end of this, is he?
No.
So, I mean, I suppose that's something. But the fact that there's a point in the film where it goes from, he's not believing any of this shit, to, like, he is one of the best people there in a very short period of time, and it's basically because he reads a shitload.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's cool, and they dress it up with some comic relief stuff, with, like, him, like, the sequence with Benedict Wong listening to Beyonce and Steve and stuff, which was great. Yeah. But they dress it up well, but yeah, I thought there was, I think the kind of the construction of the screenplay is probably my least favourite thing about this. You know, and also, I mean, like, all spoilers all the time. The ancient one, so she's using the dark magic, and that's bad because the dark magic is bad, but she's not actually bad. They just need to throw something in there to make us think she's bad. Is she bad? No, because then she has that conversation with Bumbercatch, and then
I think it's that they seem to be toying with two things on both the Stephen Strange side of things and the Tilda Swinton Sorcerer Supreme character. I think they're toying with the idea that Stephen Strange is selfish. He operates on a selfish level, and he's quite open about that. But dig a little bit deeper, and actually he isn't doing this stuff for himself. Like, that's the conversation that they have a little bit later on, is that sort of Tilda Swinton kind of says to him, you know, I thought of you as this, and I thought, but actually, you're not all of it. This isn't all about you, and you need to recognise that and accept that.
Yeah.
It feels like they're doing that with Stephen Strange, but on the flip side of that, with Tilda Swinton's character, it's the other way around, where she's all about, you know, she's all about this, but actually there's something beneath the surface there that's very selfish with her. She doesn't want to pass on. She doesn't want to pass over. She wants to stick around. So she's selfish enough to use the dark side, the dark forces, to keep herself going for a bit longer, because that's the element of selfishness in her. So I think it felt like there was two.
Fine.
Yeah, it felt like
the screenplay doesn't
no.
flesh it out. I mean, what you're saying.
I think they have a couple of conversations that relate to selfishness and you know, doing things for the greater good. And maybe it's not fleshed out enough, but I feel like, reflecting on it, I can see those two sort of, they almost had those two dichotomies going on in each of those two characters at different levels, sort of thing. That's what it felt like in hindsight, anyway.
I mean, they dress it up, like, very well, though. Like, everything around it is good. Like, the cast is solid. It's quite eclectic, and it works.
Yeah.
I quite like Mordo. I actually thought his whole thing, this is the way that we do things. Yeah. It's very black and white. You can't introduce anything else into it. Yeah. And then that is what causes his kind of break. I really liked that. The whole kind of, like, having to stick to a strict doctrine. And the moment you try to adapt that, well, what does that make us anymore? I thought that was interesting. And, you know, with the post-credits bit, obviously, he's going to be the bad guy of the second one, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops, you know, and to have a Marvel bad guy, you're actually looking forward to seeing how things go. It's quite a rare thing. Like Thanos, to be fair, he's been around for, 4 years now? Like, he popped up right at the end of Avengers, and that was 2012. Well, we actually had from him so far. He's been here for 4 years.
Yeah, it's always been moving towards this Infinity Stones, Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War idea, and I think for most people, myself included, they've taken too long to get there, and now it just feels a little bit like we've kind of lost interest in the Infinity Stone. There was even the moment where they reveal in this then the amulet is an Infinity Stone. Oh, don't go messing around with an Infinity Stone. Oh, what? And it's like, as soon as they said Infinity Stone, I just went, oh, Jesus. I've forgotten about that. Are we still doing that?
When it came to Infinity Stone, I did think, of course it's a fucking Infinity Stone.
I get it. Thanos is a huge
anything
universe.
glowy in one colour is an Infinity Stone, basically.
Thanos is a huge sort of, universe spanning monster in the comics, and he's a massive threat and a force that you can build towards. But he's not the only one. There's plenty of other, there's plenty of other intergalactic, ridiculous. I mean, fucking Dormammu, for God's sake, is a bigger threat in my head than Thanos is.
Well, the thing is, they're putting a lot of stock in Thanos. And what if Thanos turns up and he's shit?
Well, he was a bit shit in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, like he just sat there. He didn't really pose any fucking threat.
No. You get the feeling a little bit as well from the first reveal in.
It was right at the end of Avengers.
Oh, was it at the end of Avengers?
Yeah.
So the first one was in Avengers, where you only got a flash of his chin.
Yeah, basically.
And then the second reveal was that Guardians, I think. It feels a little bit like they've not been confident and this can't possibly be it, but it feels a little bit like they've not been confident in the CG. To me.
Maybe. It feels like you had that bit at the post credits in Age of Ultron as well, and he's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And
it's almost like it's weird because that says quite a lot about the character and where they're going with it. It's almost like Josh Brolin's going, "If they're not going to if you're not going to make this fucking film, I'll do it myself."
No, exactly. And the thing is, I mean, it even gets to the point that I thought in the tricky sequence, which we'll get to. That sequence where he's having his mind expanded, there's those flashes of something purple.
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, is that Thanos then? It's like, it's that Dormammu, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, hang on. So now, I mean, like, he's a massive threat, and now I'm confusing him with the threat in this film. Like, come on, something's going wrong there.
That's the thing is, there's Dormammu is like this cosmic force that controls a lot of, reality and stuff like that. Thanos is a really evil and powerful agent. He's an entity that travels from place to place. He's not like he's not a force like Dormammu is, or he's not a sort of, he's not the Watcher from the Marvel comics, or he's not, another example, even Galactus, feels kind of sort of potentially possibly a bigger threat. So it feels weird now to be built, especially now that you've expanded the Marvel Universe into this area where fucking anything can happen. Even what happened in Ant-Man, even now that we know that exists. Now we know that exists, which felt like it was referenced a little bit in that sequence.
Totally,
we know that exists, and now we know this exists. All of a sudden, a big purple...
the world's too big for Thanos.
The reason why they're delaying it is they're trying to look at and go, right, well, how can we put this with this and this with this, but still get another 10, 15 years out of it?
And yes, if Thanos does get hold of all 5 of the Infinity Stones and has this gauntlet, then he will control all of the elements that those things control, and he will be this, but currently he's not. He's just a bloke, and most people don't fucking know who he is. So it's difficult to get people excited about that, I think.
And we've still got another 2 years until he's actually going to properly show up. That's the thing, like, Infinity War isn't even next year. It's the fucking year after.
Yeah.
I mean, that's mental.
Yeah.
But I suppose back to Doctor Strange, though, I mentioned it, that fucking sequence is insane.
Which one?
The mind expanding one.
Yeah.
And he's...
It was incredible.
Floating around all those places, and the imagery
stuff that's happening with his mouth and stuff like that. It felt like a weird trip video.
It did feel like a bit of a trip video from a 90s MTV comedy.
but is it not cool to see that in a massive blockbuster?
It's certainly jarring. It's certainly weird seeing it in that. If that wasn't an MTV 90s comedy, it'd be something you'd still be watching. So
if it was in Joe's apartment You'd be all over it.
I think if that was Paulie Shaw ripping through in a sequel to Biodome, I'd be going on about it's amazing. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I did get a little bit of that and think, this is a Marvel film. We're getting, and I'm getting whiffs of Shaw. which for me was amazing. I was looking around thinking, what the fuck is everyone else looking at?
No, but I don't know. I like the ambition there, and like they're just like, fuck it, we've got this audience here, guaranteed. Let's just show them some shit, you know. And I mean, the sequence at the end as well. Like, I know you were saying you're tuning out a bit, but in the climax, I really like that it's not just Doctor Strange versus Dormammu. It's this clever.
It's a mind thing. It's the first. It's the first time that we've gone. Oh, someone's outsmarted someone. Yeah, brilliant. That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't it great to have superheroes that can outsmart each other rather than just fucking punch each other or stop fighting when they learn that their parents share the same name or something?
I mean, it's even a good chance for humour. Like the repeated, Dormammu, I'm here to bargain. You know, it's great. I mean, that's great. And yet you do still have the kind of like the Tokyo destroying kind of stuff in there as well, so they're having their cake and eating it.
You know, my huge complaint about I don't need to see another city destroyed, that happened in this, and I barely noticed really. Like I don't have any complaints about it because it was done as part of.
It wasn't the focus.
No, it wasn't the focus. It wasn't all about that, was it?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like, and I mean this as well as like Mordo's kind of psychological break there as well. You know, like, it's actually informing some character stuff. What the action is doing is actually influencing a character. Like, when the fuck does that happen in a Marvel film? You know, it's... So, I mean, that's the thing. There is really, really interesting shit going on here. And Cumberbatch is fine. He's alright, you know.
It's
no, he's good, and I'm not his biggest fan just because I don't know him from very much. I don't watch Sherlock.
I never watched Sherlock, and I've always seen it was a little bit of one of those where I've never really understood where the Benedict Cumberbatch thing comes from, but I suppose it is Sherlock, but then again, everything I've seen him film-wise, I've always really enjoyed it.
I thought he was fine in films that I've seen him in. He felt like I was originally disappointed with his casting, not because I don't like him, but because he just felt really obvious. It felt like a really obvious pick. And then when I saw the first photograph of Doctor Strange, I was just like, I wasn't excited, I was just like, well, it's Benedict Cumberbatch looking like Doctor Strange. And he looks exactly like I thought he would look. But actually seeing this now, and seeing him, you know, the Benedict Wong moment where he's sort of, so you just got one name of like Beyonce, Eminem, and all that type of thing. That worked really well for me, like I really enjoyed that. And it wasn't quite as funny, and this is the bit that I laughed at when I remember a minute ago. I could have listened to Mads Mikkelsen refer to him as Mr. Doctor. I really didn't want this name situation to get sorted out anytime soon. So even that really corny joke about where he's like, so are you a doctor? And he, I forget how he said it. He goes, it's strange. And he goes, maybe. I ordered, like I laughed out loud, and that doesn't...
And it is because, I mean, Mikkelsen is like completely dry as well, like he's not trying to be funny, it's just in his character. Maybe it is strange, but never mind or whatever he says, you know, like it's, fantastic.
That was brilliant. I did not want the name situation to be cleared up.
I'm going to need Benedict Wong in Doctor Strange too as well. He's actually a main character in that last episode of Black Mirror as well. I had a good injection.
He's always good to be as the Benedict Wong.
Sunshine for life, motherfucker. Yeah. So, and bless him, he's put on some weight recently as well, but he wears it well. I think he did for that Marco Polo, because doesn't he play Genghis Khan in Marco Polo? So it's like, I think he's got to be quite a big guy, and he's just kept it on. But no, it was good. And that's the thing, it's not like typical, I don't know, they didn't cast John Cho. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit left of centre casting, which is nice. I mean, like, I think it's probably fair to say that Rachel McAdams, it might have been nice if she had a bit more to do.
Yeah.
She kind of basically is love interest.
Yeah. And a bit of a mess cleaner upper.
Yeah. I mean, at least she's got down to distress.
Yeah, but they do make one the reference where he brings Tilda Swinton's character back into the hospital, and it felt a little bit like, oh Jesus, are we going back to the hospital again?
Yeah.
And at that point, he calls out her name, and she goes, oh Jesus, really again?
Yeah.
So I think so. It's like a reference that I liked that little note that it just sort of. But yeah, she felt a little bit like she was cleaning up mess.
Yeah.
Which.
It's a little. I mean, you could throw that at Rosario Dawson in the Netflix TV universe as well. You know, isn't she actually the night nurse or?
Yeah, but I mean,
so,
that character only really does what she patches up superheroes. But it doesn't. I mean, the Luke Cage example with the Netflix example. There are other. We've got Misty Knight now as well in Luke Cage, so she's. If you're looking for a strong female character,
I've watched half the first episode just if you're wondering if I'm looking.
Oh right, I don't know. Well, I mean, you'll see from Misty Knight, she's a brilliant. So if you're looking for a strong female character, you've got her. You've got Jessica Jones.
Solid name as well, that Misty Knight.
Yeah. And if they do with her character what they could potentially do, maybe introducing a little bit of. Well, you'll see. She's great anyway.
But yeah, Doctor Strange. I think we all liked it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not sure.
Yeah, okay, great.
Can't wait to see it again. Really, really looking forward to seeing it again.
I think that's the first 3 definitely not shits for a Marvel film in quite some time.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, hang on, no, just one more thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No. The one thing we didn't talk about is the main sequence. The main sort of, I'm going to call it the main Inception sequence.
Oh, the city folding.
Yeah. Because I thought that was fucking brilliant.
Oh, when they're chasing Mickelson.
That whole chase sequence, because it felt, it wasn't just a mess of shit. It was like, it felt like the geography of the scene made sense. They were running from place to place and then through this and up that and down that, and the camera was moving in such a way that it felt like it was, like it didn't just feel like they'd gone, right, just throw all these effects at the screen and make everything fold over and tip and stuff like that. So I had to mention that just because one of the things about this, the trailer for this when it first popped up, when that type of stuff was revealed, there was a lot of people saying, oh, this just looks like Inception. I think they did an awful lot more than Inception.
Oh God, yeah.
An awful lot more. And yes, there are a couple of visual, I think probably the first sequence that you see that involves a bit of that.
Yeah.
That seemed a bit more Inception.
The city folding.
But it goes way.
Well, that's a big with Inception. All it is the city folding in on itself. They don't really particularly do anything with it. And this is like action sequence with it happening multiple times.
It certainly, I think, it takes a cue, but it takes a cue. Films take cues from films. You know, if it takes a cue from a more obscure film, people are going, "Oh, that's a little bit."
I suppose it's just because it was one of the big moments of the trailer. Yeah, it's like so your big moment in the trailer is an image we'd kind of seen before. Well done, but then with this, it got more chance to.
I think you also had that, and you also had the fact that another big moment was the ancient one hitting Cumberbatch, and it was a bit Matrix-y.
Yeah.
And I think once you threw all that together, it did feel a little bit, there was a lot of people saying it's a little bit Inception meets Matrix. Which from the trailer, it did seem a little bit Inception meets Matrix-y. Whereas in the actual film, like you say, it's definitely taking a cue that you can't, I don't think you could say that it's not, but so what? You know, there are worse films you could take a cue from. And Inception takes a cue from Paprika anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
You know, if Inception exists, you'd have people going, "Oh, isn't it really cool that it takes its cue from such obscure Japanese animation film?" And people won't give a shit, but it's because it's Inception. It's seen stealing rather than homage.
I bet you Nolan would say he's never heard of Paprika.
No, he did actually say that.
Oh, did he really?
He said that it was a big influence. It's one of the, he does that thing where he gives people a lot of films to watch.
Oh, and says, one of them.
Paprika was one of the main ones. Yeah, no, he very much says it's a huge influence.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so good. Right, beer?
Beer, I'm going to grab my phone.
I'll pause.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Black Mirror now. So Noel's seen all of them, but episode 6. I've seen all of them, and Mark's seen 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah.
So I suppose we want
to watch 3. Shit. spoil.
Yeah, to be fair, I did say don't watch Free because it's shit. So I suppose we'll not spend like a shitload of time on this, but just like generally what we thought and whatnot. So episode 1 was Nosedive, which was the kind of the starry one, I suppose. So it was directed by Joe Wright, and it was Bryce Dallas Howard and Alice Eve. Who was that? The old woman whose name I recognised when I saw her in the credits. I was like, oh, her, the driver.
Oh, I can't remember.
Fuck. Cherry Jones, I think her name is. She like pops up in things, but anyway, maybe she's not a big name. So yeah, basically, it's Facebook is life, and it determines what kind of social status you get and the services that you can use and stuff like that. I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought Bryce Dallas Howard was good. I think she gives the best I'm dying on the inside laugh I've seen in quite a while. Didn't feel particularly revelatory though. I don't know what you guys would think, but...
No, I think I really liked it, but the one thing I would say is it's better as an idea than it is as a story that gets to a certain point.
Yeah.
So I think where it ended up felt kind of obvious.
It is exactly where you expect it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like once they got the initial setup out the way,
it's going to, but having said that, I think when Black Mirror is at its best, it's when I think why Black Mirror often works so well is because it's so close to where we are. It's sci-fi that's just about. It's not quite where we are, but it's where we might be in a year. I mean, like literally a year or two. I mean, we could be there.
And shit, I mean, the pig fucking one, the very first episode.
Well, yeah, we ended up.
It was prescient, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? So it's.
So when it's at its best, it does that, and I think this was a perfect example of Black Mirror coming up with an idea that was really, really reflective of how we are currently as a culture, and where our obsessions unfortunately lie. And I found that side of it absolutely fascinating and terrifying and horrific, as you should. But I think as a story, like I say, I enjoyed it as a story, but I think it just, where it went was kind of a little bit obvious, I think.
And Mark, you thought it was shit.
I thought it was underwhelming. I think when you've got it's like this is my first experience of Black Mirror.
So this was the first Black Mirror ever watched.
Was Nosedive. It was Nosedive. I think I expected something a little bit with a little bit more bite to it, and it didn't. It was just, that was that then. And it was kind of a little bit, because Becky's watched all the Black Mirrors and it's got to this one, and she said, well, yeah, it was one of the, it was better than some, but not as good as its high point. And I was like, it was alright, but like you said then, Noel, it's a better idea than I think it is an execution. It felt a little bit like, if they wanted to, they could have made a 85-minute movie, and it would have been an alright 85-minute movie, because they could have added a little bit more depth to it. You could have brought some of the characters that was on the outside, could have brought them into it a little bit more. But if they wanted to polish this up, they could have shortened it down to about sort of 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes, and had it like that. Which is if it was an actual TV show, because remember this is a TV show because it's been called a TV show rather than actually being a TV show. It would have been an hour long, it would have been 40 minutes because you'd have had credits there. So it would have automatically polished itself up there. Whereas this just felt a little bit like, a little bit ploddy at points. Bryce Dallas Howard's good. I thought it looked alright, but no much better than alright. I kind of expected a little bit more from a director like Joe Wright.
I don't know, I mean, I like the kind of the opening 15-20 minutes or so where it's all like artificially beautiful. Yeah, like it looks really nice, but there's a sheen of life doesn't look like this to it, which I quite enjoyed, and like the wedding at the end, like it feels like someone's dream of what nice looks like.
Yeah, that's it. That's when it works well though, because there's always that sort of, you're saying you were hoping for it to be a bit more biting. I think when Black Mirror and this type of thing work best is when it's it's just beneath the surface, that stuff. So for me, the opening 20 minutes is a perfect example. The opening 20 minutes, everything looks beautiful and it's a happy world and the sun's shining and Bryce Dallas Howard has just got a face that looks like that, you know, and it seems like this beautiful, glorious world, and then she bumps into the guy in the office who's had a couple of knockdowns on social media, and he's panicking a little bit, and he wants people to have an ice cream and stuff like that. It's just little moments like that where you go, there's something dark going on over there. That's when it works.
I like,
because otherwise, if it's too dark, it's too dark.
I like
it's just when it's just bubbling.
The building of it was nice, but then I think it's just like, say, where it went was obvious where it went. It was like, alright, this is interesting. You've got this whole sort of social structure that's actually built around everyone just kind of being a falseness to them. And, you know, it's that ridiculousness of everything has to be, having to live your life because of all this at the point of what we would normally share with people. So, but you're sharing everything with people, and people are rating how you're actually existing. So you've got to always exist kind of to exist to the mean. So you've got to try and please everybody. So you can't attach yourself to one group, which is even referenced in it, where it says, you know, you've got a 3.7 because of all your gamer mates, and everyone else votes you low. So you're going to get that. If you want to get above that 4, you've got to present yourself across the board. And I like that. But as soon as they brought the wedding thing in, it was like everything funnels towards that. And it was a bit like, right, so she's going to keep getting knocked down, and it's going to break, and then it's all going to fall apart. And it just, once you started going down that road, you were there going, right.
You see, because I thought it was going to play out that she was going to like give a speech that was like real, and after she'd had the kind of revelation that it wasn't, and like after the conversation with the truck driver and whatnot, and she's like questioning the whole thing. She's going to give a speech that's real, and everyone's going to 5-star her, and then their rating's going to go back up, and then she's going to be almost locked into this 4-star and above existence, even though
maybe somebody had videoed it or something.
And it's gone viral or whatever, you know. Exactly. And then she's almost forced to live this artificial life that she now knows is not real.
That would have been a much better ending.
So, you know, I mean, like,
you should have wrote that ending. I kind of wish that's what happened.
Because the thing is, because obviously you've not seen Black Mirror before, but Black Mirror kind of does those like dark, twisty
Twilight
kind of things.
Sort of twisted, where there's an ending that could go, now we're going to stay here forever, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this ending, it's almost happy, because she's kind of like, her interaction with that guy, they're both like saying what they mean, and they're both kind of free, almost.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, I don't know, far be it for me to say how I think a story should be written, but I think that actually would have been a way more interesting way of going about it. So there's no time, like I said, try not to spend too much time on it, I suppose. So, episode 2, playtest, Dan Trachtenberg, director of 10 Cloverfield Lane, starring Wyatt Russell,
See, I didn't know that the first one was Joe Wright until it ended.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know that the second one was Dan Trachtenberg.
Oh, really?
I didn't know they drafted in, like
big directors
for this.
Yeah, because it's weird.
Mirror season 2. I didn't.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because I mean, like those two are by far the biggest names. Like James Watkins, who did Women in Black, did the third one, but they are weirdly bigger than the other directors. You know. And Jodie Foster's doing one next season as well. Yeah. So, you know, there you go. Playtest. So this is Black Mirror does games, basically. And I just thought it was a really, really strong, really short horror film, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know,
that's it. That's the thing is, coming into you, it was a little bit like, right, so these are, it's TV, but it's not like TV as in, there's no through story. There's an idea, and essentially it's a collection of short films, just played out but it's put together as a TV show, which is kind of weird.
It's the Twilight Zone with a theme.
Yeah, it is.
The theme is Black Mirror technology.
It did kind of make me go, hang on a minute, there's got to be one of these stories that Charlie Brooker looks at and goes, no, hang on a minute, do you know what? This is going to make a fucking film.
That's exactly what I thought.
And it's a little bit like, right, because the thing about it is, has he just not got the fucking... He's got the backing. He's clearly got the backing because he's got Netflix have put a decent amount of money in there.
If Charlie Brooker would have kept this one to himself, and then said to Netflix after this, I want to make this into a feature film, they would have fucking snatched his
But the thing is, the last episode is an hour and a half long. The last episode's an hour and a half long. You know what I mean? So obviously, he just felt that this was the length it was.
The thing is, maybe the other point is really that Charlie Brooker is kind of, first and foremost, he's a TV guy. He always has been. Second of all, he seems like a very forward-thinking person, and the world we live in nowadays, the game has changed, and releasing a movie in cinemas isn't the end game anymore.
Do you think part of that is because, let's say, Playtest, right, is a prime example there. We've also said it's a great hour short. It's a great short horror film, right? Yeah. Now let's say that's an hour and a half. Could quite easily, conceivably, I think you could have got enough material to put into an hour and a half movie, but it would be viewed completely differently outside of it being a Black Mirror piece. If that came out and it was directed by Dan Trachtenberg and it was written by Charlie Brooker and the same cast and everything, it would be viewed differently.
It would play a couple of festivals. It would be shut out on VOD.
Exactly.
And then eventually it'd end up on Netflix when everybody who was really interested in it kind of already seen it anyway.
And it'd have a 6.9 rating rather than the 8.4.
Think about how well low budget horror movies do. It makes more sense for him to do it this way. Charlie Brooker's going to get a much bigger audience.
But it's like you say, he's conscious.
The game's changing. He's the type of person to recognise that.
He's consciously going, do you know what? No. I can be a writer that can have from the mind of Charlie Brooker on it without ever having to actually fucking write a film script that might get fucking panned.
Yeah.
You know, great. He might end up being a writer on a massive film, but I don't think it'll ever be him. It'll be blah blah and Charlie Brooker. Yeah. When they'll give it to him at the end and he'll just write a few little lines and throw it at there. And they'll splash from the visionary mind of Charlie Brooker or from the twisted mind of Charlie Brooker. Or something like that. But yeah, I thought Playtest was really quite entertaining. White Russell has got that charm of both his parents.
That guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's but the thing is about
his
parents. Wait, what?
Who's his parents?
Are you fucking serious?
No.
Really?
No, who's his
Go
parents?
on, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Now think about it. Think about it.
Fuck yeah! His head movements are like Kurt Russell.
Yeah. He's Kurt Russell in The Thing, but blonde in this. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my word!
Slightly more surfer dude, maybe.
I had no idea. There's a couple of moments where he does this type of thing where he's not seen as a bit.
Beach, didn't he? Beach house. But yeah,
sorry, I genuinely.
No, I had no idea.
To make it the same thing, she just went. Because she said about my mom, you know, there's strange like a mom, and I sort of said to Goldie Hawn is a bit fucking strange, and Bex paused and just went, "What are you babbling about?" So they said, "Quiet Russell's mum's Goldie Hawn, his dad's Kurt Russell," and she went, "Don't be oh, wait a minute, yeah. Fair enough." And played it, but he charismatically fits in that role really, really quite well, and you know, it was freaky in the fact that he doesn't. He's confident that the great line in it is nothing here can hurt you, but it can fuck with your mind essentially.
The one thing I would say is he switches a little bit for me. Like the character that he is at the beginning before he goes into that situation felt quite different to me. So he felt very sort of cool, you know, gap year. Chilled out, sort of just bumming around the world and having a good time, kind of easygoing sort of guy. And then he felt a bit more of a smart ass when he got in that situation. Maybe they were just showing there that was a reflection that maybe he was a bit scared and a bit not confident about what was going on. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into that too much. But it felt like he changed quite a lot between. I don't know. Maybe they filmed those sequences at different times, and he his idea of the character was different, but he felt very different outside of that situation.
It did slightly annoy me that I'm not a massive video games player. I'm not, but there were references in there, and one actually spoiled a moment for me, and it's a bit like, okay, do your video games references, but when it's actually going to spoil a narrative point.
Yeah, which one?
So there's a moment where
Becky spotted a lot of video game things, and she kept on going, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? And she's like, it's a video game thing. I was like, oh, this is what it's like to watch a film with me, isn't it? You can't. Yeah, exactly. It's like,
is it something to do with The Last of Us?
No, actually Bioshock.
Yeah, there's a Bioshock one.
So there's a moment where
I didn't notice it, Becky.
he doesn't want to open that door because he's worried about what's going to be in it. And she says, would you kindly open the door? Spoilers for Bioshock. So in Bioshock, your character is led around by this guy, and he keeps on saying, would you kindly, blah, blah, blah. And it's revealed that would you kindly is basically like a phrase that makes him subservient. So when he says, would you kindly, he will basically do whatever it is that she's asking for. So as soon as he's asking for, so as soon as she said that, I was just like, right, okay, she's a wrong'un, essentially. Like, she's leading him into a trap.
Right.
And it was a bit like, it's a clever reference, but you've now just killed some of the tension for me, so well done. And also, I mean, just because of the fact it's kind of a weird thing to say anyway. Who says "would you kindly"? I mean, the thing is, I really liked how it was just chucking a twist out every couple of minutes towards the end. Like, people have been quite critical of that, but I liked that you never really felt particularly safe. It kind of reminded me of In the Mouth of Madness, to an extent, just where it's constantly mind fucking you, where you don't know what's actually reality and what's not.
Yeah.
And then by the end, they're chucking out all the kind of like, it was all a dream, and then actually that bit was all a dream, this is reality, oh no, that was a dream, but then it's like, mobile phone interference.
Yeah.
Like, it almost felt a little bit piss-takey that was actually the reason, but at the same time also kind of felt like, weirdly enough, that feels believable.
Yeah.
Like, this is beta technology, and, if it is messing with the mind, if there was another signal in there, you could imagine something fucking with it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's almost slightly Videodrome-y in that kind of respect as well. But also, when it is horror, it's full bore horror. Like, when that girl's attacking him, like, and
the knife screws back and she's pushing him down and it's going, that was,
it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty intense, and the spider shit as well. I mean,
he's got a spider and it's got his bully's face on it. It was weird. The fact that he's that close to it as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's a really strong imagery in there, and I mean, does it have anything that it's particularly saying? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, VR's a big thing at the moment, but I think we're a long way from people actually doing shit to your brain, like PlayStation, like being able to plug directly into your fucking brain and do stuff. But I don't know, as a straight up horror, solid.
Yeah, it didn't fit. I think you've nailed it there. It didn't feel subversive and smart and like it was making a cheeky statement or reflection on society in the way that a lot of Black Mirror things do or try to. But as a just straight up genre piece, I think it works.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, episode 3, Shut Up and Dance. Worst one of the season for me.
Was this the heisty one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So...
See, I enjoyed the journey, I just didn't enjoy the destination.
Do you mind if I talk spoilers?
Spoiler it.
Okay, so my main problem with it is that by the end of it, it's alright, I just watched horrible people for an hour, and you made me feel sympathetic towards one of them in particular.
Kind of the way, I mean, I get what it was doing, the whole thing felt like it was I don't mind not having a proper answer. I don't mind not having a proper answer in some things, but when you make something that is constantly pressing you towards an answer, it's kind of going, there's going to be an answer later, just stick with us, it's going to get there, don't worry, just stick with us, now we're going to do this, but it's getting towards this end. And then you get to an end and it's like, well, did he do that? Oh shit, did he do that? Fuck me, is that what you're saying? Can I just be... Can I just be clear? Is that what's happening now? You're saying he did that, and the film and the program is still going. Listen to radio, and you're like, no, tell me. If you're telling me that that's what just happened, then you need to make it clearer.
I think it was made clear by the use of exit music for a film, which is the most generically everything is shit.
Yeah,
everything's fucked music you could possibly play. I'll give Mark a bit of context. So basically, a guy has some malware put on his computer so people can see him on a webcam, and he's like, it's a kid, 15, 16-year-old, and he's caught wanking on it. And these people basically tap into his phone and message him and say, like, we're going to release this video unless you do X, Y, and Z. And they can follow him on GPS, blah, blah, blah. Teams up with another guy who's being blackmailed as well, and they have to do a heist and blah, blah, blah. So through the whole thing, you're thinking, like, why is this kid so embarrassed?
You only had a wank, right? It's fine. Don't rob it, like, because they try and get it to rob the bank.
And let's be honest, most kids who are 15, 16 have got videos of jerking off.
Straight up. And I mean, like, Jerome Flynn, old Robson and Jerome, and Game of Thrones, plays the other guy, and he actually says at one point, like, he was just having a wank, what's going on?
About 5 minutes before that as well, I turned around to Claire and said, I'm not being funny, but at this point, I'd just be like, fuck this, I just said a wank, you're on your own. And then, Game of Jerome's said that.
Yeah, exactly. So all the way through it, he's quite like a nervous kid, and you're thinking, like, to a kid, maybe that would be the end of the world. It'd just be so excruciatingly embarrassing that maybe it would.
Yeah. Which, granted, that does work quite well because the purpose, and this is what I'm saying about the journey of it, you're thinking this would be the end of the world to a kid. Yeah. But me, I don't get it. I would just do this. So you've got that. So when the answer comes...
Guess. Why would he be so embarrassed about this?
Why would he be so embarrassed about that?
Yeah.
By getting caught jerking off?
Yeah.
I don't know, he's got a small penis.
He was jerking off to child porn.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's that yeah.
But it's the way it answers that, the way it gives you that information.
I mean,
doesn't fully go, he was jerking off to child porn.
No.
It sort of goes, and then one person says one thing and it's like, whoa!
His mind rings and it's like, I can't believe it, a kid. And it's like, what? And then he's in this forest and then police lights start blaring up behind him. It's like, what? And then they take him away and exit music for a film's playing, and then it cuts to like other blackmailed people, their comeuppances and stuff, and it's like...
So the whole idea is it's getting against Steve, what is it, yeah?
Yeah, so all the way through, you're just feeling sorry for this kid, and then it's like, actually no, he was jacking into child porn. And it's just great. It just made me sit through an hour just to get to that conclusion. And that's the stereotypical thing that people do point to Black Mirror at, that at times it does kind of feel like Charlie Brooker jacking himself off saying, I wonder how dark I can get this. I wonder how miserable I can make people feel. Yeah. Which I don't believe is actually his intent. He's a lot smarter than that. Yeah. But at time, this was
he is a smart guy, but he does do that.
He has moments.
He does that in his writing.
Yeah, he has moments. But this was the most straight, just shock value one of the entire lot. And whereas Playtest is like horror, this isn't. This is just a nasty, grimy little twist.
But is that why they've put it as number 3?
Yeah, I mean, it's the least visually ambitious. It looks like a TV show. It's fair to say, I think a lot of the others don't.
It looks like it was filmed in Norwich.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. And it was the first one I watched of this season, because I did a written review of it, and I was just thinking, like, fuck, am I in for a rough go here? And then I watched playtest the next day, and it was like, okay,
I'm alright.
Fine, let's see. I'm done with that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
So Zan Junipero, which is the one that everybody seems to be talking about.
Oh, is it?
Yes. I saw somebody put that it's singularly one of the greatest pieces of TV ever made.
Okay, well, don't ruin it for me. I actually really liked it. If I'd have known all this shit was going on, I probably would.
I really liked it.
I really liked it.
I'm also saying,
if I'd have known any of that, I'd have been like, I thought it was
I really liked it.
Because that's who I am.
But I did see a lot of that beforehand, about how amazing it was, and I was having a look to see who directed it, and so I clicked on the IMDb thing, and it's got like 9.2 out of fucking 10, which just made me go, well,
it ticks a lot of boxes. It ticks a lot of boxes.
80%
in the current, you know, the current zeitgeist is once again 80s nostalgia in it. So I guess
gender politics and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like women being free and
the thing is, it's fun.
Women being free and all out of the bullshit.
Wasn't. Just insert only in the fucking minds, though. No. Just
only in the minds of death.
You got all this freedom, so you can be who you want to be. Yeah, wait till you fucking die and got your artificial heaven.
Yeah. Well, no,
Well, I'm in the real one.
Yeah. Fucking a 17-year-old.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, when the kind of emotional hits came, I thought they were well earned, and you did kind of feel them, and like the whole Gugu and Bappa Raw, which is a fantastic name, her as an early 20s girl saying we were together for 45 years, and you know, that kind of stuff. She really sells it as well.
Those performances are great.
Yeah, you know, and
a big thing as well is it looks great.
Oh yeah,
it really looks great.
And I mean the changes in the club, but like depending on the period, were really well done as well. And
they were nostalgia baiting to fuck.
It
worked well.
They were so nostalgia baiting for one particular film for me though that I thought that's the direction it was going to go in, because we were sat there on the couch, and it would have been too ham-fisted because the first shot of the film is a Lost Boys poster.
Yeah,
but bearing that in mind, I compartmentalised that, and I was sat there watching I was sat there watching. I'm just going to call it a film. I'm sat there watching this film where we're in a party town where the nightlife really comes alive at night, and people don't want to be in sort of relationships, and what's going on, and what happens, and the thing that the guy says, oh, people around here are basically dead. And then a shot of the moonlight in the water, and just the look and feel of it and stuff. And I was sat there going, is this going to go sudden vampire? This is going to go sudden vampire, isn't it? And I think for the first 40 minutes of it, I was going, go on then, go sudden vampire. And then about halfway through, I just sort of realised, oh yeah, this is Black Mirror, and vampires would have nothing to do with psychology.
Because they have no reflection.
Exactly, yeah. So, for me, I really enjoyed it. Love the aesthetic. I love the way it looks. Love the way it felt. I love the way it reminded me of Lost Boys a little bit, and a couple of other 80s films.
Gugu and Bappa Raw kind of shits on her husband's memory, doesn't she?
A little bit.
You know, you could say, you know, if you wanted to, but hey, you know,
with this girl that she's not known that long, really.
who she's actually only met 3 times, and one of them chewed out like a motherfucker.
Yeah. It was. Looking back on it though, it is kind of funny that it's basically like a really old dying woman just like straight up throwing herself at a young girl.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know who she actually is in the real world. It's like she could be anyone. She's like, fuck it, I want to get fucked.
But that is it. It literally is. It's
bought, looking back on it.
My husband died, and now every Saturday night for 5 hours I go out and party and get fucked.
Sorry, carry on.
I don't want to be swearing this.
No.
Sorry, carry on. I just thought it's alright, Carl.
Did you?
No.
So, I thought you were talking to someone out there when you were saying, sorry, carry on. Sorry. Even though you've been who you're talking.
Carry on in my garden, gardener.
Yeah, no, totally. No, I mean, it looks good, performances are good. I thought, I thought it earned the emotional stuff. Like, the fact that you only really get the euphoric thing within the end credits.
Yeah.
What was the song again?
Heaven is a place on earth.
Heaven is a place on earth. Yeah. It's Black Mirror doing a happy ending. And
If somebody turns on a coastal US beach town with the sun going down to Heaven is a place on earth in a red sports car. All right. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. I know it's a cliche, but fucking hell, I grew up on those cliches, so yes, please, I will have a nice big spoonful of that.
Yeah, quite. Okay, cool. Next one is...
And yet I still won't watch Stranger Things. Sorry. You ruined it for me, people.
I won't either. I watched the first episode. That's it.
Yeah, to be fair, there's a bunch of TV that I'd say I'm not going to bother with, blah, blah, blah. So, but it is good, it's Stranger Things.
I'll get to it when everybody shuts up about it.
Just let it die down. Yeah. Next season, I think, is like next September or October, so maybe hit it like April, May, when everyone's talking about it, but before the second season starts ramping up. Yeah. Anyway, Men Against Fire,
Men Against Fire, which was that? Oh, that one.
Yeah, the warfare one. Which I kind of saw everything come in about 20 minutes in, to be honest.
On the whole, I was bored throughout.
Really?
It did nothing for me. I don't know if it, we were both at home with gastro bugs. So we were both really ill, and we were like, should we stick some Black Mirror on? And maybe, although actually, did we? No, because we watched San Bernardino, and really enjoyed it, and then we watched that afterwards. Maybe that had something.
That's quite a shift, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think not feeling very well and just being in that grim world.
Yeah, you don't.
And just the whole military angle of it, it wasn't really doing anything for me. So. And also it was kind of predictable, I think.
Yeah.
I think I latched on to what was going on very early on when the bugs started to happen in his mask or whatever it's called, mask. Didn't do much for me, but it sounds like you liked it a little more.
I mean, slightly. Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's probably my second least of the season as a whole.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it comparatively a lot more than I did Shut Up and Dance.
Right. See, I think I probably like Shut Up and Dance more because I wasn't bored. Yeah, I wasn't bored with Shut Up and Dance. Yeah. I was bored and I wasn't enjoying the world in Men Against Fire.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of intrigued to see if it did go where I thought it was going to go, and it did go there. But I did like the last 10 minutes or so. Michael Kelly from House of Cards, like in his couple of scenes, I thought he was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And there's not really a lot to say about this one, to be honest. Genuinely, there isn't, is there? It kind of plays out. The whole, they're called roaches, and it's like, could that be another word for migrants in 10 years?
See, but this is the thing. It didn't fit. Like there is a really interesting idea there. So rather than with the first one, what was it called again? Nosedive. With Nosedive, it was kind of they based it on that idea and they set that idea up. Whereas with this, the idea of it, basically going in and clearing out a race because you don't like them, or you don't want them around, or there's immigrants that you want to get rid of. There's a really good idea, really strong idea there, but they focused not on that, on this side of it, this side of the story, if you know what I mean. I'm not explaining myself really.
No.
It didn't feel like it explored the core idea of it very well.
No, it's more about the character.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well,
and not about the meaning. I didn't give a shit too much of a shit about him spending time with his teammates and getting to know them and how different they all are and stuff like that.
I mean, again, to give you some context, basically, it's this like army are trying to eradicate this group of monsters called roaches, and they have some like advanced technology and stuff. And during one of like the attacks, a roach with this weird green pen-like thing flashes the light in this guy's eyes before he kills him, and then his like military like in-eyeball shit starts malfunctioning and it turns off. And the twist is, they're not actually monsters, it's just the shit they've got in their heads. It's making them look like monsters to make them easier to kill.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, like, I think it is quite, I think it is quite timely. Like, it does kind of feel like, with Brexit and Trump and whatnot, it does kind of feel like, if the world did go down a particularly dark path, you could see this kind of shit happening in generations past when we're dead. You know, like when there's no actual like living memory of like of Eastern Europeans. Say, if I was to like, just because that's what the Daily Mail seemed to hate. Like if people were brought up on the idea that they were monsters, you could actually see that happening, which is really fucking terrifying. But like you say, it doesn't explore that idea. It's more about this guy.
Like a racist shallow how.
Racist shallow how. That's exactly it. But then by the end, it's like, alright, this guy's basically had to accept that he's gonna go back to not remembering this, and he's going to go back to it because otherwise he's going to be trapped in a personal nightmare forever. Brilliant.
Well done. Again, they didn't explore the more interesting elements of it. So what you're saying about this, you know, it's a racist shallow hell. It is, but I think the most interesting part of it is that this is an opt-in situation. So he opted in to see the world like that. But they breeze over that. They dust over it. He's just like, because they've got old footage of him going, yeah, whatever, bro. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll just fucking do it because I don't give a fuck. Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, that sounds fine. So then it's like, well, no, like, I don't care if he thinks he's the coolest guy in the room. You're not just going to have people fuck about with your break. They're making out are they making out he's stupid? He's from the streets. He doesn't care. Are they making out he's too poor and this is his only option? That's like, what was the decision process here? Yeah. Like, what was his motivation for letting them fuck about with his brain? And what was the point where they said to him, we're going to do this to you and it's going to have this effect and you're going to kill people based on that? What was the point where he went, that sounds terrifying, but you know what? Yes, I'm going to do it.
I don't have much choice because of blah, blah, blah.
They didn't explore any of that. They just dusted over it because they needed to prove that. Yeah, they needed to prove that point to that character in that moment in the story. That's the only reason they touched on it.
Yeah.
So it could have been explored a bit better, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. So that's Men Against Fire, and the last one is Hatred of the Nation, which is the hour and a half one. I won't spoil it because I'm assuming you're planning on watching this.
Yes.
I would recommend watching it. It's a suitable Black Mirror finale to a Black Mirror season. Okay. I will say that. I'll give you the gist. Basically, people who are particularly being hated on Twitter are dying, basically, like seemingly killing themselves. And Kelly MacDonald plays a detective who is basically looking at this, and Benedict Wong comes in as a guy from the National Crime Agency. So it starts as why are these people dying, and it turns into something bigger. And by the end, you just kind of want to have a hug with someone and be told that everything's going to be okay. It's appropriately Black Mirror, and I kind of saw where it was going, but I was intrigued to see if it actually went there, and then it did.
Okay.
So I'll say that. Maybe we'll get your thoughts next week, Noel, and Mark. Sorry, and Noel, feel free to tell us on WhatsApp. And but it's good. Kelly MacDonald is nicely acerbic as well. Like, it's weird seeing Kelly MacDonald because she has like a younger partner. And it's weird seeing Kelly MacDonald being the older, grizzled one. Even though she doesn't look grizzled in the slightest, she still looks like Kelly MacDonald of Trainspotting. Yeah. Maybe with like a bit older, but like, so it's weird. But that's Black Mirror, a bit of a mixed bag. But strong moments are strong.
Yeah. It's, the world's a better place for Black Mirror and Charlie Brooker, So I think there were a couple of weak points from what I've seen so far, but it's still something that I will always look forward to seeing more of.
Well, another season next year, apparently. So
apparently yeah.
So I'm in. Nice. So I suppose Claire's probably going to be.
She'll be home soonish. Yeah, if you want to, what was it you were going to cover? The Ty West film?
In a Valley of Violence.
Yeah. You start on that. I'm going to nip to Lou.
Cool. So In a Valley of Violence is the latest one by Ty West. It's on US VOD now. Stars Ethan Hawke, John Travolta, Karen Gillan, Teresa Farmiga, James Ransom, Larry Fessenden pops up. Bern Gorman of Torchwood fame turns up. He's also the mad scientist character in Pacific Rim. In A Valley of Violence, it's John Wick but Western. This and John Wick came out too close together.
It's a little bit the rage
and dread, isn't it? But it's really, really weird how close it is to John Wick in that it's a guy who kind of just wants to be left alone, who has a violent past life.
Yeah.
He has a dog.
Yeah.
This is the motivation for the film, so mild spoilers. The dog is killed by the son of a local authority figure.
Yeah.
And that local authority figure is not very happy that the dog has been killed.
Oh, not another dog killing.
Is you know the story of John Wick?
Yes.
That about Western.
It's that, but it's literally that bit of Western.
Really?
It's weird how that bit of Western it is.
Right, fucking
but In a Valley of Violence. I liked it. It's too derivative to be anything but I liked it. Mark?
Yeah, overall, I'd agree. I did like it overall. There's a shot straight away in the film where you get a zoom essentially, which is a complete Western trope, and especially a spaghetti Western trope.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's there, and it feels a little bit like, oh, you're going to try and do
My son's at a party.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It does feel a little bit like Ty West is going to try and do a little bit of a Tarantino-esque Western.
Yeah.
But he isn't Tarantino. And the problem is, at points, it is a little bit like that. And the weird thing is, the really strange thing I found about this film is you've got some really, really, really good performances mixed with some weird performances that I'm not saying are bad, but are weird. And then some just plain bad performances.
Karen Gillan
is fucking awful in this.
She's really bad in this.
Thank you, because I was worried that you were going to say that she wasn't.
I think she's not a very good actress generally.
I've said this in the podcast before.
She's
I
absolutely beautiful, but
she's stunning.
Yeah.
But I think she's terrible. She's a little bit like.
I even found her very creaky in Guardian.
I thought she was bad in Guardian. There's from the word go in this movie.
I'm going to try and find a bit because I want to show Noel.
Yeah, she's terrible. And Tysa Farmiga is in this film as well. Starts off not great, but then kind of finds her character. But there's a scene where she plays with Karen Gillan that she's just terrible. But then Ethan Hawke's very good in it. James Ransom manages to be both terrible and great at the same time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Travolta is brilliant. Travolta is fantastic, and this is what Travolta should be doing.
Hang on a minute. Are we talking about a Ty West film still here? That's quite a little line-up, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, Travolta should be doing stuff like this, because with this, he doesn't have to worry about the hair, because he's always wearing a hat.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to worry about the Travolta hair. And it's the two best Travolta performances, I think, the past 6 or 7 years have been his performance in this and his performance in Savages, which I think he's very good at. I just found the character.
Yeah, can we pause for a second? I just want to... Right.
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to introduce what you were going to do.
No. So, we just showed Noel a particular scene of Karen Gillan in this film. The thing is, what she says, I'll just say for anybody who's seen it, she says, at the end of the bit we're talking about, she says, I need you. So, the film never references that again. So you don't know whether she is or not.
Right.
And it's just, the line reading is so, because because I was expecting him to go like, shut the fuck up, you're talking out your arse. And then he's just like, well, no, like, I can't have this conversation with you now, blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of ends there. It's like, so has she been directed to just give a weirdly shit line reading?
No, I just plainly don't think she's a very good actress, because that is weirdly is probably the best she is in the movie. There's other bits in it where she is like head scratchingly bad, but like I said, Ethan Hawke's very good in it and very entertaining in it. And essentially, he's completely losing his mind.
Yeah.
And there's
like you said, Travolta is great. So
and Travolta is great. Yeah.
He's really good,
and there are a few. The thing is, like you said about Ty West, I find he's made one really good film.
See, that's it. I always say he's hit and miss, but actually...
He's made one really good film.
He's made one good film.
And then his other films, he's made decent sequences or scenes. There's one scene in this, which is about maybe 80 seconds long, which I think is fantastic. And it's the scene where he's just about to... When I ask spoilers all the time, and do you mind if I spoil it?
No.
He's just about to kill Larry Fessenden. And they're in the house. You've got Tyson Farming that comes out of the room and he stops her, puts his hand over her mouth, and takes the cut razor out of her out of the hand. Yeah. And then there's a scene where she walks around him and he's telling her shush as he's opened the door really quietly. And it's kind of playing in slow motion. And I thought that was a fantastic scene. And the problem is there does seem to be a little bit, in this little cabal of filmmakers that all kind of interlink with themselves. There's some good filmmakers, some bad filmmakers in there. But it does seem with Ty West, like, if he has somebody there, a little bit, to kind of go, no, you don't need to do that. You find that funny. But it doesn't work within the context of the film. Sometimes you just need someone to tone it down a little bit. And it happens in this film sometimes. It just needs to be just brought down a level, a little bit. And it looks too clean for a Western for me. It looks a little bit, it doesn't look like a lived in world.
I agree with that. I mean, I think that might be budgetary.
It could absolutely be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it basically, the film looks like it's taking place. You know, the end of 4, where it's like that one town, like street in New Mexico that it takes place in. It's kind of like that.
Oh, that's halfway.
But
small town, one water tank, that kind of.
No, exactly. However, it does have the finest opening titles.
It does have very nice opening credits.
I'm going to show you the opening titles now.
It does have very nice opening credits. And the bits like that work really well. A great soundtrack.
Yeah. Jeff Grace, is that his name?
It was Jeff Grace, yeah.
It's Django then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that in lies its fun for me. It's attempting too often to be that as referential as something like Django.
Yeah.
But I just don't think Ty West has got the encyclopedic ridiculousness of somebody like Tarantino. To throw out all of these references.
This is the main theme in the film, by the way.
But in saying that, I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I had a really decent time with it. I would watch it again, no problem. Maybe not the dog killing bit again. I found that a bit. Oh Christ, I didn't really.
Yeah, it's that same thing. If you ever kill a dog in a film, it's always going to upset people.
Yeah,
It goes, but yeah, it was.
I do kind of wish the film was as cool as this title sequence kind of makes it out that it's going to be.
Yeah, there's a couple of good sort of Travolta scenes. There's a great scene with a guy called Tubby.
Oh, when he's trying to convince him to,
And he keeps on saying it, and then later on Tubby goes, everyone stop calling me, and there's a great line from Tubby where he says, can everyone stop calling me Tubby, my name's Lawrence.
Yeah.
Can people stop calling me Tubby? And he looks down at himself and goes, I'm not that fat. Look at him and go, do you know what, he's not.
Yeah.
And Travolta just kind of looks at him and goes, alright then, Lawrence, Larry, could you please get the fuck away from the window? The thing is, he's not doing it out of any meanness. He wants her to get away from the window so he doesn't get shot.
It was like, if it was 20% more fun or 20% more serious, I think it would have hung together better. But it's just slightly. And also, the film never actually goes there, but the intimation of Ethan Hawke and 16-year-old character Teresa Farmiga, they've got a bit of sexual tension, and he actually says she's young enough to be my daughter, but she's a funny one, but I'd still fuck her. You know, it's a bit like they never actually.
Did you actually say that?
No,
oh.
but that's the inference. You know, and it's. You know, again, it's in the context of this world, but they don't quite go there, which is fair enough, but then they're kind of in a halfway house a little bit.
Yeah, well, I guess you kind of got to acknowledge that was that kind of world.
Yeah, no, so, and she, you know,
it would be perfectly acceptable.
A couple of times that she'd been married before.
Yeah, but she's like really young looking as well.
Yeah.
And is she Vera Farmiga's daughter?
No, sister.
Sister? How old's Vera Farmiga?
She'd be in her late 30s, late 40s.
That's got to be a good gap between those two.
Oh yeah, she's like 21, 22, I think, Tyson Farmiga.
Yeah, alright, fair enough. Yeah, shit, fair enough. But yeah.
Definitely not shit.
Yeah,
what is nice about it is it's Ty West coming out of a comfort zone of horror.
Yeah.
Because it is coming out of that, and you know, he could quite easily have continued a career and got to 10 films in 5 or 6 years' time and had a 15-year career, and people going, yeah, but all you do is horror movies.
And to be fair, you get with Ty West the impression that he doesn't want to be known as a horror film. Maybe the slight feeling that he feels it's beneath him.
He wants to be a genre filmmaker.
Yeah.
A horror filmmaker.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if his next film isn't a sci-fi.
Yeah, there you go. So, but yeah, no, In a Valley Bar, it's definitely worth a watch. Yeah, definitely worth a watch.
It's fun.
People who feel that horror is beneath them probably shouldn't associate themselves with the ABCs of death.
There is that. Oh god, yeah, he did that fucking...
Was it the abortion?
Yeah, the toilet one.
Yeah.
No, not Tears for Toilet, but the one where she just does the abortion down
miscarriage?
the
Was it M for miscarriage?
M is for miscarriage, maybe. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was actually kind of the worst one as well. And when you're talking about the ABCDs of death, that's some fucking going to come up with the worst one.
Did either of you ever watch the second one?
No.
Fuck yeah.
No, I barely made it through the first one.
Yeah, I think
if you can't get me interested, if you can't give me a good time with an anthology horror where the pieces are about fucking 2 minutes long or whatever they were, you're doing something wrong, because that really does kind of play to, you know, brevity and genre. Yes, I'll have that. You know, string it together with a theme, great, I'm all over it. But yeah, that is some of the worst stuff I've ever seen.
It was bad.
And that was it. Our thanks to Noel for joining us once again. Hope you enjoyed it. Mark and I are going to be talking Tom Ford's Nocturnal Animals on the next show, along with, like as I said at the start, probably quite a bit of what we watched and whatnot. And other than that, we'll speak to you next week, and bye bye.